We turn now to the legal action on behalf of the 6 civilians reportedly killed and 15 civilians reportedly injured during an SAS-led raid on 2 villages in Afghanistan in August 2010. At a media conference today, 3 lawyers, Deborah Manning, Richard McLeod and Rodney Harrison QC, announced they're taking the action first and foremost to get an independent inquiry into exactly what took place. They say the government has no discretion. If New Zealanders were involved in or responsible for civilian deaths, there must be an independent inquiry. The counts of the raids vary between the 21 civilian casualties the villagers themselves say they suffered, and which are described in the Nikki Hager and John Stevenson book Hit and Run, and the 0 civilian casualties which the Defence Force asserted for the past 6 years. Speaking in this order, Deborah Manning, Richard McLeod and Rodney Harrison QC declared
that we have instructions to act for all of the villagers who were affected in that raid, those who were injured and the immediate family members of those who were killed.
Yes, I can confirm that this morning, on behalf of our clients, the men, women and children of these 2 villages in Afghanistan, we have written to both the Attorney-General and to the Prime Minister, informing them that, in our view, the material that has been released to date establishes credible allegations that during the course of their attack on these villages in 2010, the New Zealand Defence Forces breached fundamental principles of both New Zealand law and international law, including war crimes and violations of the right to life.
Yes, so we are calling for a full and independent inquiry, and indeed we say that there is a duty imposed on New Zealand to hold such an inquiry in the light of the information that is coming forward. To those like the Prime Minister who are saying that they have seen nothing new, we say that that is not the case, and that in particular the interviews with the villagers we now represent in the Hit and Run book and other material which is coming forward quite plainly represent something new. The villagers were never interviewed or even approached for any of the so-called investigations that have occurred thus far. Their side has not been heard. It can and should now be heard.
Is this a civil case? So did the villagers approach you, and if so, how? How's all this happened?
Yes, so the villagers have been wanting help about what's happened because, of course, this has had a huge impact upon them to this day. Many are disabled and, of course, heavily traumatised, particularly the parents of little Fatima, the 3-year-old girl. And so they asked one of the authors, John Stevenson, if he could help them find someone in New Zealand, and John approached me and asked if I would be interested, and I said that I would, and here we are today.
Does this mean that you prima facie accept the book's version of events, that there were 6 civilian deaths, as opposed to the New Zealand Defence Force version of events, which explicitly stated there were no civilian deaths?
Yes, well, we have instructions from the immediate family members of those deceased.
So this is an explicit declaration that we have been misled by the New Zealand Defence Force?
There's both the book, from our perspective, there's both the book and the instructions we have from the villagers, and we're relying on those. But already the outright denials of the Defence Force have been disproved over the last couple of days anyway. So it's not as if any credence should be given to those now. So the inquiry also has to look at the cover-up, to be blunt, by the New Zealand Defence Force, the complete denial that there were any civilian deaths, and the assertion that in fact sergeants were killed when none were killed. It's an inquiry that needs to be held not merely for the sake of our clients and the general public, but to clarify why we say we've been misled by the Defence Force down to this point.
That's Rodney Harrison QC. Before him, Richard McLeod and Deborah Manning were speaking.